Locho sampo pa gyu trashi pa tuche tempe trinle yarnda hege drolor zampe ze parche palde lame shabla solvade Omo a Guru Vajradhara Sumati Munishad Uta Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om a Guru Vajradhara Sumati Munishad Sane Karm Uta Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhar Sumati Munisha Sane Kar Uta Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhar Sumati Munisha Sane Kar Uta Vardhanya Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Uta Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhara Sumati Munisha Sane Uta Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhara Sumati Munisha Sane Karma Uta Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhar Sumati Munisha Sane Karm Uta Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhar Sumati Munisha Sane Karm Uta Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhar Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhar Sumati Munisha Sane Karm Uta Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhar Sumati Munisha Sane Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhar Sumati Munisha Sane Karm Uta Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhar Sumati Munisha Sane Karm Uta Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhar Sumati Munisha Sane Karm Uta Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhar Sumati Munisha Sane Karm Uta Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhar Sumati Munisha Sane Uta Vardhanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Dāgi Chetsun Lama Tuje Che Nyamda Dala Tuje Siksu So Gebe Shesan Dala Tendo So Uyon Songe Nawa Tsedo So Tseche Ningne Sowa Debet Techen Kurlo Vesu Lekshune Ila Sambe Dede Malupa Geme Lungi Trupra Jingilo Sonye Sodan Dikdun Shape Tse Dungi Namke Yinsu Lekshun labchen tsoni yonsu zopa dan chera nyedun changra jingi chancho parge nitsen tukun tu nyu peme siudru lekshun chancho drube gegen kunshi shi tungen de la drubra jingi lo dagi lona chola chopa dan chumi samjur ngenpa shiwat chedan timbe dede malupa beme lungi drubra jingi dorna tenge tsira tamche da deji bardu nekab tamche tu rese kemne lama kele me tuje chingi dala siksu su gongyab drewe nyamda da jezun lame tuje rabgon kudan sunge nawa drame tu nyamsu nyongwe kesan topra sho kiwa kundu yanda lama da drame cheki pela longchuchi sada lamge yonte rabzone dorje change koba nyur tobe sho pakyuke kudan dagi lu pakyuke sundan dagi nga pakyuke tukdan dagi ten yerme chikdu jingi lo makyuke kudan dagi lu makyuke sundan dagi nga makyuke tukdan dagi ten yerme chikdu jingi lo. So we start with the Guru Puja. Cominciamo solo la parte di recitazione della Guru Puja. Deche ngale rani lama la kande selve kule vesere tso chochu chube neju chinlape taba ranjan bashi yundengi kwepe keba pinsun sobara gyur ramkara gesen chimbe ngani le dadan kanya mage simchen tene chisi chanchu nimbu para lama kunju sumla kyepsu dru namo guru bye namo buddhaya namo dharma Sangaya namo guru bye namo buddhaya namo dharmaya namo sangaya namo guru bye namo buddhaya namo dharmaya namo sangaya ma simche kunger chi dani lama la gyune simche tamche lama la e koban chola kopraj ma simche kungi tungi chire dani lama lhara gyurne simche tamche lama koban chola kopracha ma simche kungi tungi dani lama lhara gyurne simche tamche lama la koban chola kopracha ma simche tamche dunga ledre dechen sangye gi sala kopracha te chirto lam samo lama lai ne jo nyamso lam aragi omo ahung omo ahung omo ahung owo yeshe la namba nan che dan che ze so so nambra che le wambo drugi che yu tu de dong yeshe kebran che gebe sada pana nange kyon tam che yong so kebe chinas Chören tamse chense samge mi kya pe kangwar kyo. Deton yerme lala yamba kunsa chören tribe wo loma meto tribu yunse dogu pasam chumbe tse donga barwe rinchen triden chuge nida gebe ten karin sumden tsawe lama sange kungi ngawon namba ngurme zingbe ge lon sheche chanye zumgara dra chaye chuche yumba nyumshe dutse kangwe longsen Kurgon damden chugu sumso serdo penshe ula tse tukar kyabda dorje changwa sheche chanye kudong Datre sonne yincho magyo lenge de don robe ge nama rinche genge treshin lase dagi natse sembe gende ve ser domba chatsu nange korwe wu dorje kiltron surge shupe pumbo namda deshen kamshe yumshe keje tsagyo tsingna chancho semba ngo pabo dracho nire chigdon yala trowo wombo Veser chogyo nojin sanwa chigden pana shabge den takob rinshin ngogyo lama yidam kingo latso Sangye chansen pawo kandro ten songya tso korne shu de dargo so dorje sumse honge veser chag Rashine ne yeshe pana chendra yerme ten par gyur penso dele chungne tusumgi tsagyo lama idang kunjo pawo kandro chugyon sunso che tuche wongi dirshe tembrash chuna ranshin drogo kundre yan naso duje samba chishinto Shiryan charwe kense trinle che kyabgun damba kurje shiksu so Homo guru buddha bodhisattva dharma bala saparyo Ehya he za hum bam Yeshe pana tamze pada niso me paragyu Kange duje dewa chimbo ye kusongo ban chegyan keje la Tsoze lama rinchen tabu ku dorje jensha pemo chatsel Rauchan gyalwa kunge yeshe ni kandu chiryan charwe tabge cho ngurme zimbe karge nero Yogun dambe shabla chatse lo anyegun baja cheba drujun shin pame yunde rinchen sogit Pende malu chungwe goche bu jetun lame shabla chatse lo larche dumba sangye kunge Yere shiton tamcho chungwe ne paso kunge unalang Rinchen lama namla chatse lo tusum chochur shube lama da rinchen chosum chawe tamche Teji mebe deyang geso che shindo nyambe lulu cha se lo kyabgun che sun lama korche la naso churin geso bulwan kule rinche weba nuya le daje duzi chushi degi dombo sima tenwa pele pa tsebe medo sadan parnang tishin pegi duba bendoriye yarke ngombo triki lalan nida norbo ramkara tome tso to sum se vese tsegak Gabo senden kurgon trigo pe pechon sochen koryo kone ki roge chuden sacha tongan Hadami shase lombo po naso romo chetan tanye le chungwe tanye gyue sasun Sudra tiro rikche pe zinpe chinan dunyo lhamo che kun kya sa shi peke chushi medor Hiram li shi nide kim Mikde wargi rugun namda shinla chobra sho yi dam chewa chage lingshe lumbro che rinchen dunda nyue rinchen kunga gebe nuchu pinson so lami longcho dugu terchem dawe simge puljun shinge cho kyabgon toche chenla wargi yi dam guru rana mandra la kam niryata ya mi ngosha yidro yi shinga tsong si shi namkara leo chanseng Dado gebe kunge yidro shin chikden chikden le de ran shin Gosong gebe medo chiyan tra kunsa chebe trinso bumrosh Lapso rimni lange drende pe gazen chetsun lama nye chebu kurhun dande sambo tringech roge pe zenge che tunga dan chekyo nga dan roma nga la so chantun barwe dutse gyazo Iwa la so pa zin chuchu shin dube gyuse lage lutra ma shinge nga ge lenge ponyes Teto gyume chekya nangya bu trimde lenge dewe yeshe che chugun ran shin tonda Kyolabu nyumon shiga tsashi nechope sambo mingi chira natsa Kyune gichi dare bula na namkara jisen basu sondo so tome dune mige dikbel Gidang gitse iran chichi pa tuje chenren chengar gyusem Shashi lenche mige dombane chuna ranshin tsema dande ya milam jishin keba tamchik Dega chirian charwe namkara la dacha samba tabe irao Pelchon kenze chunzen bomdre te taye drodi pende kunde tse keda yunde leda pewe Sabge chege charba abdo so dorje kula keje mingay Sonjo wange gyabo samato dacha meba jishe sede ba nyange mida daba shutsos Deda trumbe namkara gewe so kare sumden jitsun lama Tsera kundu dreme jezench Sonjo dorje changwa top jir ngo yunde chungne Tsurin gyatso che mondo norbu tsoge yongsot Urbe tsimba tongwa nibe che neden duwa tsila sowat Dena Devara Shebela, Tembra Bebe, Yenden Chidemba, Malu Galwe, Dusun Chugich, Tichu Giwe, Shila Sowade, Gosum Leda, Lojen Sodendra, Yudan Gumeng Adan Gushish, Tini Chuzun Tridan Chekepe, Dorche Zimbe, Sola Sowat, Sange Trame Jumbe Matulwe, Maron Duge, Nigdu Drowal, Deshe Lamsan Chishin Tumbai, Kyamkon Tujech, Tube Nima, Tuge Nugurute, Kongya Mebe, Drowa Mambo, Gyawe Zeba, Nyora Druzepe, Kyamkon Tujech, La Sowat, Deshin Kiro Gyawa Tamchel, Kange Babu Buga Chizaya, Daja Sonam Shindu Lengape, Kyamkon Tujech, La Sowat, Kusong Gengi Korloni, Tabge Gyudu, Rawe Chugele, Tame Tsugi, Drowan, Kyamkon Tujech, La Sowat, Puga Keji Yala Nam, De Sheringa Yabyon Sembada, Troge Wambora, Shin Chosumgi, Dani Lama Chola Sowat, Kungye Sherba Lejowe, Kilkorokoro, Jave Danit, Rege Kyabda Dorje Zimbetso, Suncho Tambo Gula Sowat, Chimelenge Gawe Rabada, Yermedeo, Kungya Kungit, Tomada de Kusan Tendamgi, Chancho Singo Kyola Sowade, Kenye Lama, Kenye Yedan, Kenye Kandra. Chanjo bardo kyami kyamshi mitsowe, didam bardo chime taryan, toche chagyo sunsol, sishi jikdro ngodro konzo tenge trozo pajo son, kyunye lama kyami kyamshi mitsowe, didam bardo chime taryan, toche chagyo sunsol, sishi jikdro ngodro konzo tenge trozo pajo son, kyunye lama kyunye yedam kyunye kandro chik. Tene sonde chancho bardo kyami kyamshi mizowe, didam bardo jime taryan toje chagyo sunzo, tishi jiro ngodro konzo tenge trozo pacho son, dedarle son sowa dab. Togi niramle, dutse yose karma tinga son, rimdan chikchara chungne danik, ne son rimdan chikchara timbale, chipshi tachi namda wanshit, kushi topchin lama niba shik, kishin timbe chinge la paragyo. Verso 84, verse 84. Shincho Damba Chechun Lama La Chechin Kube Sowa Tabe Tu Dele Tsawa Gombo Kenyi Gi Gishin Chetsun Zimbra Chinge Lo Lenche Samshi Nyebe Dejut Nyega Nyordo Jikbe Tsudo Ne Tome Tsedi Chawe Miye Wara Tunde Nimbo Lembra Chinge Nge Sondu Nge Barwe Mejing Ne Ningne Kunjo Sumla Kemdrush Digbong Getson Tada Druba La Tsumba Lulen Chebra Chinge Ludan Donghe Sumge Chusin Mambe Tse Tame Chiru Siso Chimbo Le Tardo Shudra Kyora Chinge Soga Tsura Drawe Korwa Di Gawe Tsildar Tongwe Lobang Lamson Pabe Norgi Tsosonte Tarpe Gensen Simbra Chinge Nyamda Drowa Digun Dagi Ma Yaya Chinge Kyangbe Tsosam Dube Pula Tsewe Mashintu Chumi Ninche Kyora Chinge Dunga Tramo Tsamya Midyo Chin Dela Namya Choshe Mebran Dada Shenla Kebra Yomishe Shende Gawa Kebra Chingel Chongne Di Midyo Dunga Gebe Gyurdone Lelen Dela Kondo Sunchete Dazin Dunchen Chomra Chingel Cheson Dela Kobelo Taye Yunden Chungwe Gordone Drowa Dida Dagi Tralankya Sole Chebra Zebra Chingel Rando Kona Da Tuba Shindun Bashin Tsebai Gyunda Yunde Yawa Tobe Lo Da She Nyumche Nubra Jingil Rani Chibi Kungi Gu Mana Chise Yunde Kungi Shi Techir Da Shin Jewe Ne Jola Nyamle Nyumbo Chibra Jingil Tena Jetsun Lama Tuje Che Magyo Drowe Malu Tada Dala Mimba Da Dagi Digi Shinla Tawa Chogun Dedan Dembra Jingelo Tena Jetsun Lama Tuje Che Magyo Drowe Diri Malu tata dala mimbada dage dege shala tawai drogun dedan dembra jingil tena jizon lama tuje che magyo drowe dirib dung dage dege shala tawai drogun dedan dembra jingil neju digbe dribu yongkante midun dunga chadara babki lenge dribu Ide bashi gombra jinge lo chorwa shidan dembe tabge chela kando gomla chorwa da lojo tamtsi lapche nyam lengi de cho tunchen chobra jinge tongle lola kyunbe chukden che chamda ninje labe samba drona sitso chile drowech chanjo semni chongra jinge lo tusong gyawa kunge drochil namda gyase domba gyudamsh Tekcho tsutrin sumge nyamle la tsumba lulen chibra jingil Ludan longcho tu sumge zoche simche raran debe ngogyurut Chame tonsen pewe mengagi jimbe parchin zobra jingilo Chezan soge chilya midunch Gecho dudan simche dundrube Ksurin parchin zobra jingil Kamson kegu malu chogyurute Shishin sandro dikshin sokchuk Miru nolen bemba druje be sebe parchen sobra jinge simche re chirya narme be menan keba gyatsa ne go kyang inje mi go chancho chotsun be tsendru parchen sobra jinge lo yongwe kyomba ne chogu dembe dombe ne lo seje nyambra chobe dinzenge samden parchen sobra jinge lo shiragi trambe shinjan dejen dandewa Nejogi shira parchin zobra jingil Chinan chunan gyuma milanda Dambe tsanan da sojishin Nayan dembra mebe tsudone Gyume tintin zobra jingilo Tuza meba da yunde Penso game troso charwai Ludru gundon dobra jingil Tene dorje zimbe tebungi Tinle gyude gyatso jiget Modro tsawa tamtse domba na sole chebra zimbra jingelo Kusonto gyurwe rimba tambo nechok Tame nashin tima kunjante kana lagu chawa Inge dabge dudi wida Wese gyulo sondo chupe lam tsedi ngondo gyurwa jing Lamna masin chiwe tuche na tsenda tsangya lame pawany Tumga yandan charwe damgagi tape shindu drubra jingil Dona keshin kewa tamche tu gombo kyogi drame che son Kuson toge sanwa kunzim segi tuwaro gyurwa jingil Gongyo kandu ngombra sange be korgi toma nidu tagyurte Nekaw tardu gondo mal Beme lungi drube trai shi tsol Sangye chodan soge chonam la chancho pardo dani kyapso chi dagi jinso gibe sonam ge drola penchire sangye druparesh Sangye chodan soge chonam la chancho pardo dani kyapso chi Dagi jinso gibe sonam ge drola penchire sangye druparesho Sangye chedan sogi chonam la chancho bardo dani kyapsoch Dagi jinso gibe sonam ge drola penchire sangye druparesho In the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha I take refuge unto enlightenment. Through the practice of generosity and the other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. So, today we start once again with the Bodhisattva Charyavatara. We stopped for this past 3 days because I have been a little bit sick. Nothing to worry about, just a little cold. But as I need to leave next Monday, I preferred just to take, before I had them, like, it was difficult to talk very much because of the cold, so I preferred just to have some rest in this matter. If I didn't have to travel, then it would be okay, no problem, even if the cold takes another 5 days longer or whatever, no, that's not a problem. But because we need to leave and so on, go to Tibet, and it's very high, so because of that I prefer just to take care. But today I'm much better, so I came down for that. So, as we go back today to the Bodhisattva Charyavatara, this very important text, there was actually something that was coming through my mind I wanted to share a little bit with you before going to the actual text, which refers basically to the way how we listen, the attitude that we have when we listen to Dharma, which is something that actually it's very important, okay? And this comes through a verse that explains it very well. And this verse was written by Lama Tsongkhapa, and in the very beginning of one text called Zorim Rimla Saldron. Zorim Rimla Saldron is a commentary on the 5 stages of the completion stage of Guhya Samaja. And the verse is where he begins, and my teacher in Tibet, the most venerable abbot of Tashilumpo, Kachin Losam Phuntsho Rinpoche, he starts very often teachings with this verse. So I wrote it down because I don't remember it precisely. It says, Dirjo Pani Kelba Sangwashe, Leg Parsomla Gawe Shingidang, Rapsel Zumbe Nyamdan Dembayi, Namyang Nöge Kyon Sum Pongla Nyun, which means, be aware of how fortunate you are of entering here. When we say entering here, it means entering to the teachings. He says this in the beginning of the text. So, like, look, you are entering into this path. So remember, understand how fortunate you are. Okay? So when we enter into to receive the teachings, as we enter into the path of the Dharma, we should reflect upon, be aware of how precious it is. By reflecting well upon it, by reflecting well upon the preciousness, upon how fortunate we are, you should gawe shingidang. What do you say? You should shine with joy. Okay? You should shine with joy out of reflecting upon how fortunate we are. Rapsala dzumbe nyamdan dembai, and within a deep state of Rapsal dzumbe nyamdan dembai. Rab means extremely, very. Sel means clear, which means, but sel also means light, like verse sel. Sel means also light, okay? So with a smile of extreme light, and a dzum means smile. So rapsel dzum ginyamdan then by nyam means a state, and within a state of a smile that how to say it's difficult to find the right word. It's like, because in Tibetan you say when a person smiles, it's like if the person is shining with light. Okay? Radiating light. So we could say something like, and within a state of a smile that radiates light, listen with attention, abandoning the 3 faulty containers. Okay? So the point here, one of the important things is that it's not obvious that we can remember the fortunate things that we have. Very often we take things for granted. So this is not something new. This is something since the time of Lama Tsongkhapa. Otherwise there will be no need for him to say so. So it's important for us again and again to remember about the important things that we have, to remember about the fortunate things that we have. Because this helps us really to, radiate a light of a smile, to be happy, really, to have this aspect. Together with that, there is another important thing on that also. That is the fact that the Dharma is something that gives us a lot of joy. And And it must be a joyful path. The path to enlightenment is the path of joy, it's not a path of suffering. No? It's not because it's a path of joy that always it will be easy. There are difficult moments, that's for sure. For example, it's not easy to sit down and meditate every day. But still, it's very beneficial and it's something that gives us joy, so we do it with joy. It's not because something is difficult that necessarily it shouldn't be joyful. No? For example, let's take someone that is running for a marathon. Is it easy to run the marathon? No. But I believe who's doing it is doing it with joy, no? Otherwise, why should he do it? Okay. There are many things that are not easy, but they are joyful. And in the path of Dharma, it is first of all joyful. Some parts are easy and nice, some parts are not so easy. For example, it's not so easy to look at ourselves in our own eyes and deal with our own shadows. It's something that is beautiful, it's good, but it's not pleasurable necessarily. Okay? The result is very pleasurable, the process is not so pleasurable. So based on that, I think it's really something that we need, but this verse is showing us very clear. The path of Dharma is the path of joy. So it's important to generate such joy. You know? Because sometimes from our culture base and so on, we have this little bit idea that, okay, we need to be, there is suffering, we must suffer in a way. And here is the other way around. We must be joyful, you know. The most joyful people I ever met were actually my great masters, were all great practitioners of Dharma. Very deep people, not superficial, and extremely joyful. Not joyful in the superficial way. You know, there are some people that you see and they are smiling and thinking and so on, but when you really look to them in a moment, you can see sadness within their heart. There is other people that they can be very calm and very settled, but at the same time, you can see that there is this light coming out of their heart. There is this smile that is sincere. There is true joy within them. So this is the type of joy that we need to develop. So then we can also be singing and joking, and that's okay, but the point is like, we must be sincere joy within our heart. So when we remember about how fortunate we are through many aspects, and one of them is the possibility to really to follow spiritual path correctly, this is something that gives us great joy. So within that state of great joy, please listen carefully. The importance of listening carefully, it's very big. One of them is like, if we do not listen well, we cannot remember anything later, because what we remember, we cannot remember at all what the person said. We can only remember what we listened. Right? And, I cannot remember what he said. Sure, you can only remember what you listened, and if you didn't listen well, you cannot remember much. And if we don't remember, then it doesn't become a resource to help us in our difficult moments, and it's not something that we can put into practice later. So that's why very often in the beginning of the teachings is said the correct way of listening. And there was one of these aspects that was in my mind today, so I just wanted to share this with you. So I take the opportunity, then I explain the complete set, which is basically we call eliminating the 3 faulty recipients or containers, and developing the 6 correct awarenesses for listening to the Dharma. Okay? We'll just look at this briefly. So as we go to look at the 3 faulty containers and the 6 correct awarenesses, we start by looking at the 3 faulty containers, okay? I don't know what's the best word in English. Maybe recipients is better. Okay, anyhow. What we imagine is the following. We have a vase, okay? So we shouldn't be like, first of all, a vase that is upside down, okay? Because if the vase is upside down, it doesn't matter how much pure water you pour in it, it's not going to retain any. So similar to that, when we go to receive a teaching, when we go to listen, and we are fall asleep, or our mind is not really present in what we are doing, what happens from that is that we are physically there, but mentally not. So we cannot retain anything that is being given. Maybe a little bit of the energy, maybe some imprints, whatever, but really we cannot remember anything later simply because we were not really present there, even though physically we were there. So we should be careful not to be like a vase that is upside down. How to do that? We shouldn't fall asleep. Even if we don't fall asleep, our mind may be wandering around. And when our mind is wandering around, we are not present mentally. So, as I just said before, what we remember is not what was said, but what we actually listened to. So it's very important to be present when we go to listen to someone. So this is the first faulty recipient, being like a vase that is actually upside down. And most of the distractions that we have normally come from our objects of attachment. So maybe a person that we like, so while we're there we are thinking about that person. Maybe we are hungry and we think about lunch. Maybe we remember something of yesterday, or we saw a movie and we have images in our mind coming back, or whatever, okay? Something about our job and so on. And also we have objects of distraction that are objects of aversion, but the strongest is the objects of attraction, desire, attachment. That we are here, but our mind do not allow us to be here because we wander around and we go to look for things somewhere else. And this makes us not to be able to listen correctly. It doesn't make us not be able to absorb what is being given. So that's why we need to be aware and we need to be careful not to be like an upside down vase. Okay? The second faulty container is actually what we call the dirty vase. So imagine the vase is not upside down, it's in the right position, but there is some poison inside. In the moment that there is poison inside the vase, it doesn't matter how much pure water I pour in it, it's going to become poisoned water. What does that mean? When we go to listen to a teaching, or even to a friend or to whoever, and that moment we are taken by anger, jealousy, pride, miserliness, hatred, envy, whatever negative emotions, we are going to poison everything that we listen with such negative emotions. So it doesn't matter how good, how pure whatever is being said is. For us it's not going to be that much pure. For us we are going to listen to it in another way. We are going to go with a preconcept. We are going to poison it. So I have already seen that even with the most pure Dharma teachings, I see sometimes even Rinpoche giving really good advice from the heart. I could see that with my eyes. And it was so clear, but the person that was listening in that moment was so much taken by his own anger or envy or whatever, that listened to things completely distorted. So understands things in a completely distorted manner. Okay? Why? Because our emotions work as a filter for what we listen and what we see and what we experience. So we need to be careful, generally speaking, whenever we talk to someone, whenever we experience any situation, to remember that if our emotions are too strong, they become a very thick filter. Okay? So we need to be very careful with that. Especially when we go to listen to Dharma teachings, this becomes even more important. So based on that, that's why also I try, whenever we do the teachings, in the beginning we recite some mantras, we do some prayers, we do some short meditation, something that actually helps us to bring our mind to a neutral state. Because it's very normal, we come to the teachings and as we arrive, maybe we have just talked to someone before, we read a message, we wrote an email, or whatever, we were looking at something, and maybe all these things may have also generated some sort of emotion in us, positive or negative. Very often it's also negative, so maybe we are with envy, or we are feeling jealous, or whatever, or a mind of attachment, or anything like that. So So it's important, first of all, to bring our mind to a neutral state. It is not possible to generate a positive state of mind out of a negative state of mind. Before generating a positive state of mind, I must bring my negative state of mind to a neutral state. Then I can generate a positive state of mind. Okay? I cannot generate love out of anger. First, from anger, I need to go through indifference, and from indifference, then a neutral emotion, then from that I can go to love. So, based on that, it's important, like in the beginning of the teachings, we always do this part of like making some prayers and some meditation and some mantras and so on, which calms us down and brings us more to the present moment where we are. Okay? This is one of the meanings. So we need to be careful to abandon the faulty recipient of a dirty vase. This is one of the most important ones. Okay? It's better to fall asleep than to listen with anger or with envy or any other negative emotion in this way. Okay? Because sometimes it can really disturb and, it changes the meaning. It's really going to corrupt the actual meaning of what we listen. Okay? The third form of recipient that we need to abandon is called the vase that has holes in it. Okay? So somehow I believe that most of us, not to say all of us, we have some holes in our own vase. Okay? I think it's very difficult for any one of us to have a vase that has no holes in it. Which means we listen to things, we can be as much careful. Slowly we forget about things, no? This is normal. But sometimes we can close some holes. Some people have bigger holes, smaller holes. It depends, okay? So based on that, what do we need to do? First of all, we need to try to be as much present as we can in the present moment as we listen. This is the first thing. Another thing that personally helps also is when we listen to teachings, if we really understand it. Because there is a difference between simply listening and actually trying to comprehend it, like elaborating it within ourselves. When we just listen, then it's like words that come in, we may be even with attention, but we're not elaborating it within ourselves, then we can forget it much easily. When we actually elaborate what is being taught, then we can remember it much better. One of the reasons why I try always to give many examples, sometimes make jokes, okay, I like making jokes, but also is the fact that when we make a joke, when we do many examples, this helps us a lot to remember after also, okay, because it's a moment that it fixes in our mind somehow. So, and it's very important to relate the teachings, to relate the meaning of what we listen to our own personal experiences. So if we're able to elaborate what we listen, then what happens is that we really can remember better. Okay? For example, when we study Dharma in the monasteries, when we just go to listen to the teachings, we can remember in a way. When we do debating about it, we can remember it much better. Because you understand it, you analyze it, you go through it, where you make that knowledge not only something that you listen to, but you make it knowledge your own knowledge. So when you do that, then you cannot forget. Like when you really debate well about something, then you don't forget it anymore. That's my own experience and of many other people. When you just listen and you don't put it into practice, you do not elaborate it, you don't go deep into it, then you forget very easily. Okay? So basically we could say it's like we receive the water in our own vase. If we use this water to water the seeds that are in our mind, then this water will be very useful, and then we'll have the fruits of the flowers of realizations. Otherwise, it's just some water that is there, and slowly one day we say, oh yes, I listened to the teachings, but when you go to look, the vase is already dry, there's no much more water left somehow, Then we need to go back and listen to the recordings. Yes, there was something like that, It happened to me not once, quite many times, I received some wonderful teachings. I can only say they were wonderful because that was the feeling I had at the time, because I really don't remember what was said, really. Like I received the complete commentary on Vajrayogini by Dragon Rinpoche. It was really, I remember it was really very beautiful. But I don't remember much about it, really. Why? Because I didn't do the retreat right away. I didn't put it into practice right away. And many things came after that, and so on. So somehow I was with a lot of attention, I was listening carefully, and so on. I believe in the moment that I go to read again and I go to do the practice, I hope things come back. But in the right moment, it's not there. Okay? So it is important for us really to have this care of trying to using well. So when we listen to something, we need to try to adapt to our own reality. And the most of all, it's like making that knowledge your own knowledge, bringing it to your mind and to your heart. Then you don't forget anymore about it, okay? So this is what we call abandoning the three faulty containers or recipients, which means the upside down vase, the dirty vase, and the vase with holes. When we go to see the 6 awarenesses, the 6 correct awarenesses for listening to the Dharma. Second. The first awareness is the awareness in which we see ourselves as the patient. So it's the awareness of seeing ourselves as being sick. And imagine that we go to Buddha. They say, "Oh Buddha, I am sick." Buddha say, "Why? What's your symptom?" Because normally when we go to a doctor, we never go to a doctor saying the sickness we have, right? We go to a doctor complaining about a symptom. So what's my symptom? I suffer. I have insatisfaction. I am not always happy. I have sadness. I suffer, basically. Then Buddha looked to us and said, "Yes, you are sick." "Oh, really? What's the name of my sickness?" "Oh, your sickness is called selfishness. Your sickness is called the obsession with self-gratification. And this sickness manifests in other smaller forms of sickness, such as anger and jealousy and pride and miserliness and so on. But all these sicknesses, they come from a deeper virus that is called ignorance." Okay? So finally we have a diagnosis. "Oh, I am sick." So the first awareness when we go to listen to Dharma is, I am sick. Of what? Of ignorance, of selfishness, of attachment, desire, hatred, fear, aversion, and so on. Envy, jealousy. Okay? So, the first awareness, I am sick. It's a very important awareness. Because if we do not have the awareness of being sick, very difficultly we will take the medicine to get cured. We can even go to a doctor because we like him. He's a nice person. "Oh, look at that guy. He's a doctor, but look at the doctor. He's so nice. So I like to go there, be by his side, listen to him. It's really nice. But I'm not sick. So I'm never going to take the medicine." We can go to the guru and he can be a very nice person and we like being nearby our master, and like Rinpoche is such a wonderful person, so maybe we like to be nearby him and we have, whatever, and we are together and we listen we feel blessed by being on his presence and we like so much. But I'm not sick. So I'm just taking as a good friend, so it's okay. So I receive what I'm open to receive, actually. So if I go having the awareness, there is something in me that I must change. I am sick. I am sick with, why? Because I have symptoms. What are my symptoms? The suffering that I have, where it's coming from? It's coming from the sickness. What is the sickness? It's selfishness. It comes from ignorance, but it manifests also through anger, jealousy, pride, miserliness, and so on. Envy, jealousy. I don't want any more to be sick.
So I see the guru, I see the spiritual guide as the doctor. And here is a very important point, which is when I see as the doctor has a specific function, which is helping me to cure my sickness. So when I go to the guru, I go, why do I go? Because I am sick. This is the first important awareness. What is my sickness? I have envy, jealousy, pride, miserliness, hatred, and finally ignorance. Okay? So I want to get cured. So I am sick. The guru is like the doctor, and the Dharma is the medicine. Because the doctor alone cannot do much. He can only cure me by giving me the right medicine and giving me the right cure. Okay? Sure, the loving kindness from the doctor is important. There are many aspects that are very important also, but only the doctor wishing me to get cured will not help, will not make me cured. Okay? It's like Shantideva says in the Bodhisattva Charyavatara in another part. He said, listening to the teachings of Dharma and not putting them into practice is just as going to the doctor and just reading the prescription. Okay? You can read the prescription as many times as you want. Is that going to cure you? No. You need the medicine. So, what we need to do is to have this third awareness that the Dharma is the medicine. That means it's there to benefit me. The fourth awareness, which is also very important, is I can get cured. Fourth. First awareness, I am sick. Second awareness, I am like the patient. The second awareness, the guru is like the doctor. The third awareness, the Dharma, is like the medicine. The fourth awareness, I can get cured. My potential is pure. My nature is pure. I can get cured. Because if I go to the doctor, I am aware that I am sick. I like very much the doctor. I respect the doctor. I have trust in the doctor. I have trust in the medicine. But I don't have trust in myself. I cannot get cured. Very difficultly I would get cured. Very difficultly I would take the medicines in the right way. Very difficultly I will follow in the right way. So the fourth awareness, in which I understand that my nature is pure, I believe that I can get cured of my own sickness, it's extremely important. Making an analogy to the actual medical process. Last year I was in in a symposium, and there was an important doctor, and he's actually working for the World Health Organization, giving advices to the old Southeastern governments on healthcare. Okay, so he's someone with a lot of knowledge and recognition in the normal world, and he told about one scientific research that was made not long ago about cancer. And the research that was made, what they did is that they took many cancer patients. I don't remember how many, hundreds of thousands of cancer patients, I don't remember, that actually were able to get cured and that the cancer didn't come back again. So they took all these patients and they made a research to look what did they have in common. I said, okay, if all of them got cured and their cancer didn't come back again, what did they have in common? Maybe they took the same medicine, they were living in the same place, I don't know. They had the same family situation, whatever reason. No, they made a deep research to look everywhere what was the similar within them. And after this long research, they could find only one factor that was the same for all of them. The only factor that was same to all of them that got cured, it was that they deeply believed that they could get cured and that the cure that they were doing was the right one for them. They were taking different medicines, they were taking different types of supplements, they were doing one way, another way. You know, if we looked in the more these aspects, it was completely different for all of them. The only thing that was the same to all of them is that they all were sure that they could get cured and that the cure that they were making was the right one for them. So, in Buddhism, we say that to rely upon the Guru in the right way is the root of all realizations. Okay? We're not saying the Guru himself is the root of realizations. To rely upon the Guru correctly is the root of all realizations. What does that mean? I go to the Guru, as we have just said, because I am sick. There is something in me, or I want to develop another quality, or basically I want to make my life meaningful, or I feel there is some insatisfaction, and so on. And finally, what is the sickness? It's ignorance, selfishness, hatred, and so on. So, in order for me to be able to practice well, in order for me to be able to have the realizations, I must have two deep trusts. I must trust myself, and I must trust in the one that is guiding me. I must entrust myself. I don't know if this is correct in English. Say to entrust myself, no? That's what... No, it's different. Like, I need to entrust myself to the Guru, okay? Which means like taking refuge. I say, I really believe you can guide me in the right way, okay? Because when we go to the doctor and we are really not sure about the doctor, we take the medicine half away, yes and no, and maybe a little bit yes, maybe... Because not always the medicine is sweet, no? Quite often the medicine is bitter. And when we start taking the bitter medicine, at a certain point we don't want to take the medicine anymore. And this doctor doesn't understand anything, look at the medicine that is giving to me, that's too bitter, I don't like it. Or maybe we take the medicine and right away first we have a negative symptom. And say, that doctor is not good, look what is happening to me. But if we have real trust to the doctor, and that's why it is said, before entrusting ourselves to someone else, we need really to search very well. We shouldn't do just like that. Because once we do, we should do it in the right way. That's why in the past, before choosing a guru, the correct way was waiting for 12 years. Because you need really to have the right experience. And actually, it's a gradual process, even nowadays. Our own ability to entrust ourselves to our own guru, it's something that is gradual. It's not something that comes from one day to the other. First, we can entrust ourselves to one level, then to another. Even in the Buddhism way, we have different ways of taking refuge, different levels of entrusting ourselves to the Guru. From the Hinayana, Mahayana, and Vajrayana perspective, it's completely different, actually. So, but the point here is that the root of our realization is to have trust in ourselves and trust in the Guru, which is trust in Dharma. Like when I go to the doctor and I have trust in the doctor, actually, it's not trust in the person that can cure me. I have trust that he can guide me in the right way to give me the right medicines. So I trust the medicine and I trust my own potential of cure. So based on that, this fourth awareness of having trust in our own ability to get cured, it's very, very important. Having trust, this is also the third noble truth. The truth of cessation, I can get cured. So, and this is in Buddhism, it's something that is so, so important, which is in the same faith that I must have in Buddha, I must have in myself. I can get cured. And in other words, it's the fact that the nature of Buddha, I have the same nature within myself and I can develop it. So I must believe in myself. Together with that, I must believe also in the one that is guiding me on this path. And in order for that, I must train, I must check, I must analyze, I must have experiences in order to see is this the right person or not to guide me. And here we go into a whole other subject, which is not the subject of today, which is how to entrust ourselves correctly to the Guru, how to choose correctly the Guru, what are the qualities that we need to look for, and so on and so on. The minimum quality that we should look in a Guru is that he should have more qualities than ourselves. That's the minimum. From the spiritual point of view. Because what I'm looking, someone that can guide me spiritually. So from that point of view, he must have more qualities than myself, no? I'm not looking from other points of view, from that point of view. Then there are many other qualities. The Guru must have love, compassion, wisdom, morality, concentration. The Guru must be able to, I must have the knowledge of the teachings of Dharma, must be able to transmit these teachings in a way that I can understand, must have love towards the disciples. There are many, many other ways. The qualities that the Guru must have are so many. Maybe in another occasion we can, maybe in December sometime, as soon when we finish the Bodhisattva Charyavatara, which I think soon we can. If all the days we never go to actual text, then it's going to take longer, but we can do what is called the 50 verses of Guru devotion, which all of this is explained in details. It's really very, very beautiful text, okay? Anyhow, the fourth awareness is to believe in ourselves. To have the awareness that I can get cured. The fifth awareness is the awareness that the process of cure happens by taking the medicine. I go to the doctor, he gives me the prescription, I buy the medicine, I buy the whole pharmacy, I put it in my house, and then I forget about it, or better, every day I just look at it and I say, how beautiful. I'm not going to get cured. The process of cure only happens by taking the medicine and following the cure, which means eating in the right way, following what the doctor told me to do. So the process of cure happens by putting into practice the teachings. You know? It's like otherwise, I can know the doctor for 20 years, 30 years. I can have accumulated so many medicines at home and a long list of prescriptions. But if I never took the medicine, I never did anything, the results won't happen. Okay? So it's by putting into practice that the process of cure happens. And what does it mean by putting into practice? The mantras that we recite, the prayers that we do, the meditations that we do, all these are methods to help us. But the practice happens mostly when we are able to bring the antidotes where the sickness lies, where the poison lies. For example, you know, the medicine becomes medicine when it comes in touch with the sickness. Because the same pill can be poison for one and medicine for another. Why? Because it's only medicine when it touches the sickness. If I don't have a sickness and I take a certain medicine, it can become poison for me. If I have that sickness, then it really works as medicine. So the medicine is something that cures, and it can only cure when it's in touch with the sickness. So the Dharma as medicine, it becomes medicine when it's in touch with my own sickness, with my own. I can have, you know, like the 6th chapter of the Bodhisattva Charyavatara about anger is so beautiful, so powerful. But it becomes medicine when we put it in touch with our own anger. When we put it in touch with our own defaults, then it becomes real medicine. Otherwise, it's just something nice outside. So when do we see the results of taking the medicine? When we are able to have less anger, less jealousy, less pride, more love, more compassion, more wisdom, more balance, when we feel more joyful, spontaneous joy, and so on. And all the mantras and meditations and prayers and images, all of these are methods that help us to do this process. Okay? But it's important, we should always apply the antidote there where the sickness lies. That there where the poison is. Okay? It's not an easy process, necessarily. Because very often we don't like looking at our own shadows. But the light must be applied there where the shadow lies. That's where the light has its effects. I can have the strongest light. If I point it to the sun, I won't see it. But if I take even one small light, a candle, and I bring it where is darkness, it will bring a big effect. Similar to that, the light of the teachings and so on, where do I need to bring it? Where are my shadows? And then I will really see the effect. It's not something really easy, okay? Because we don't like to look at our shadows. We prefer to look at where is light, which is quite understandable. But the process of cure is the process of looking where is the sickness and going out of it. So that's where we do. To practice the Dharma, the process of cures happens by putting into practice what we listen, the actual Dharma, okay? So this is the fifth awareness. The sixth awareness is the awareness that the process of cure is gradual and takes long. It's not from one day to the other. It's a gradual process. Like if we keep the same analogy of sickness, when we have a momentary sickness, like, okay, these days I got a flu, I have a cold, okay, that's easy, okay, 5 days, whatever, you get better, take some medicine. I never take medicine for flu. This time I took some medicine because I could not have the luxury of letting myself be sick for 10 days or whatever. So I said, okay, I must do something about it, so I took the medicine. But it's something that from my own experience, whatever, if you take care in a way or another, it goes away. You get cured in 1 week, 10 days, whatever, okay? But then there are other types of sickness that are more deep sicknesses, which we chronic sicknesses. For example, we can have a sickness in the liver or in the kidney or in the lungs or many other types of sicknesses. There are sicknesses that we bring them for years and years and years. For example, I cannot, for example, take cold, like I cannot walk in cold places, and there are some things but it's something that I have since many, many, many years. So it's something that to cure really, it's something that takes long. It's something that is like, if you have a problem in the kidney or in the liver or many other types of sickness, chronic sicknesses, you cannot cure them from one day to the other. And this, we know, there is no medicine that can cure a chronic disease like that. It takes time. How can we cure a chronic disease? By having the correct behavior, by taking the right medicine, by eating in the right way, by having the right emotions. If you put all of this together, then you can get cured. Okay? So, there is a long process. So the process of healing is a long, gradual process. Our sickness of selfishness, hatred and so on, is it a momentary sickness created because, it was too cold or whatever? Or is it chronic disease? It's chronic, since we were born we have it, and since previous lives and so on and so on. So, as it's a chronic disease, the process of cure is a long, gradual process. It's not something that happens from one day to the other. So by having this awareness, we don't need to hurry, but we must have constancy. That's where the difference comes. It's only by being constant that the results can happen. I can take the best medicine for a week, but then if I stop for another week, then I still need to go back again and start again. It's like making fire with wood. You need to turn the wood in order to make it hot. You go, it's almost getting fire, then you stop. I'm too tired. Then when you need to start again, you need to start again, if not from beginning, at least from half. So you need to have constancy. And when you need to make fire with wood, what you need to do? Have the right speed with constancy. Not too fast, not too slow, until you get fire. Okay, this is what is said when we need to develop correct concentration. Not too much effort, not too less effort, but constancy in the right amount. And in the practice of Dharma, it's like this. We must have constancy in the right amount. Okay? So the 6 awareness when we listen to the Dharma are, I am like a sick person because I am sick with selfishness and so on, ignorance. The Guru is like the doctor. The Dharma is like the medicine. The awareness that I can get cured. My nature is a pure nature. I can get cured. The 5th awareness is the awareness that the process of cure comes by taking the medicine, so by putting into practice the teachings. And the process of cure is a gradual process. It's not something immediate. Okay? So the 6th point is the one that actually I wanted to talk about. Because when we go to see the correct view of reality, it's something quite long, you know? And sometimes I say, okay, but I understood, but what's the point? It's gradual. We need to listen, we need to reflect, we need to meditate, we need to remember it again and again, and gradually, slowly, we makes a big difference in ourselves. You know? It's a process that it goes like, how to say, because we live 24 hours with ourselves, sometimes we're not able to see the changes that happen within ourselves. So, sometimes it takes time until we are really able to see that it takes a bigger change in order for us to be able to see the change that happens within ourselves. So it looks like nothing is happening, then suddenly, it has changed. Because we need to deal with a situation that normally we would have a certain reaction, and suddenly we're not having that reaction anymore. Then we look and say, something has changed in me, that's good. That doesn't mean we need to relax. In a sense, stop doing something, we need to continue practicing. No? So, it's a gradual process. And also, especially with the correct view of reality, our ignorance of grasping at things as if they exist inherently, intrinsically, out of their own characteristics and so on. Sorry. We are so conditioned by it that it takes a long time to change that mind, okay? That's why we need to analyze and see emptiness, the lack of inherent existence, correct view of reality from many different perspectives again and again and again. Ok? Quindi, quello che accade è proprio perché è un processo graduale e che richiede il suo tempo, che dobbiamo, quando si parla della corretta visione della realtà, è un processo lungo anche. È un processo lungo nel senso che dobbiamo ascoltare, dobbiamo comprendere, dobbiamo meditare, riflettere più volte, perché è qualcosa che noi siamo condizionati a vedere i fenomeni come se fossero di esistenza intrinseca, propria, autonoma, ormai da troppo tempo. Quindi è una cosa forte dentro di noi, quindi richiede tempo, richiede costanza per riuscire veramente a trasformare questo dentro di noi, ok? Solo perché sennò qualcuno, ma perché così? È così lungo questo capitolo, ci sono così tante cose. Proprio perché? Perché è una malattia cronica, quindi dobbiamo andare a prenderla da tutte le parti per riuscire a guarire, ok? Perciò un'altra volta, solo per concludere questa sorta di introduzione che è stata più lunga del previsto, rilego quel verso in tibetano un'altra volta. Dirjuk pani kelpa sangoshe lek par somla gawe shingidang rapsal dzumbe nyamdan dempai namye nögi kyun sum pongla nyen. Sii consapevole della preziosità di entrare qui, di quanto sei fortunato di entrare qui. Riflettendo bene su questo, devi risplendere di gioia. Lek par somla gawe shingidang rapsel dzumbe nyamdan dempai è in uno stato di un sorriso che emana luce. Namye nögi kyonsum pong la nyon. Ascolti con attenzione, abbandonando i 3 contenitori difettosi. So just to conclude, I read once again to conclude this first part. I read once again the verse. Dirjuk pani kelpa sangwa she lekpar somla gawe shingidang rapsel zumbe nyamdan dembai namye nugi kyon sum pong la nyun. Dirjuk pani kelpa sangwa she. Be aware of how fortunate you are of entering here. By reflecting upon it clearly, emanate emanate a beautiful light of joy. And in a state that emanates, in a state of a smile that emanates light, listen carefully, abandoning the three faulty containers, the three faulty recipients. Okay? So this is the receptacles. So this is the attitude that we should have when listening to the Dharma, okay? It makes a big difference, having or not having the 6 awarenesses. It really makes a big difference. And especially remember the example that I gave before. If we go to the doctor simply because we like the doctor, it can be a very nice experience. He can be our friend, we go out for pizza, and we go to see him because we like him. It's wonderful, but we are not going to take his medicine because we don't think we need it. Okay? But the best benefit we receive from him is when we take his medicine. Okay? Another thing is also the following. When we go to the doctor because we have the awareness that we are sick, and we relate to the doctor as a doctor, and we believe in the medicine and we take the medicine, there are very, very, very few possibilities of us having conflict with the doctor, if we have chosen the right doctor. If we go to the doctor and yes, somehow we like taking medicines, but we start judging the doctor, we start seeing the doctor also somehow in different ways, so then we start to be jealous, or then we start to judge him because of political views, or this or that, and we don't like the way how he dresses, and we don't like this, and we don't like that, then we can find so much trust because the relationship is based in other things. So if I go to the doctor, let's say I go to the dentist, for me it makes no difference what is the color of the underwear of the doctor. It makes no difference, what he's doing at home, or it makes no difference what are his political views, or what he's doing with his money. The important thing is that he takes good care of my tooth. Because it's painful, I want to make it well. So if he's a good dentist and I entrust my mouth to him, then he should take great care. And then it's fine, there is no conflict whatsoever. Okay? Then, if the dentist is a nice person, a good friend, I share the same political views or whatever, then wonderful. Even much better. But the point is that this is in every relationship that we have. Every relationship is made out of giving and taking, giving and receiving. So if we have clarity of what we give and what we receive, the conflicts becomes almost impossible to be there. Because in a relationship, when I feel that I'm giving what I'm supposed to give and I'm receiving what I'm supposed to receive, nor less or more, then there is balance. So when there is this clarity, it helps a lot. Okay? So what's the attitude with the guru? Who is the guru? The guru is the one that guides us on the path to enlightenment. But we can only have someone guiding us to the path to enlightenment when we want to reach enlightenment. Because if I don't want to reach enlightenment, I can have a guide, someone that guides to enlightenment, but is not guiding myself because I don't want to go. It's like there can be a doctor that cures whatever disease, let's say a dentist. He can be the wonderful dentist and I'm friend with the dentist, but he's not my dentist because I'm not entrusting my mouth to him. It's clear what I say, okay? So in this sense, it's very like the 6 awarenesses, they really make the relationship with the spiritual guide become what is called the guru. Because guru, literally, to be translated into Tibetan as Lama, La means high, the highest point. Ma means no, negation. Okay, that's what Lama means. La, like when you have the mountain, there is a top of the mountain, it's called La. Okay, Palaptala, so La means the top. Ma means no. So no top in the sense there is nothing above. Nothing that is above. That's what's the actual literal meaning of Lama, that is the translation of Guru. Also means, can also be translated as heavy. Heavy in the sense of importance. What does that mean? Of all the relationships that we have in our life, we have family, father, mother, son, daughter, husband, wife, lover, whatever, friends and teacher. Of all the relationships we have, the most important one, the heaviest one, the one that has the biggest importance in our life, the one that is known above, is the spiritual relationship with our spiritual guide. Not because of the person of the spiritual guide, but because of the nature of the relationship. That is the relationship of developing our own qualities, of following the path to enlightenment that goes beyond this life. So when something brings benefit that goes beyond this life, naturally it is of more importance of the things that are only for this life. So in order for us to make this relationship an actual relationship with such importance, we must follow the 6 awarenesses. See ourselves as the patients, see the Guru as the doctor, the Dharma as the medicine, see our own potential of enlightenment, see that the process of cure, of healing, happens when I put into practice the teachings, and the process of healing is gradual. When we have these awarenesses together, then we can really make this relationship as high, as precious, as important as it should be. Okay? And we should remember, this is not something that happens from one day to the other. Even this is something gradual. Slowly we develop. In the beginning we may have a friendship, slowly we entrust ourselves, and it's something that slowly takes time in order really to be well established. Okay? And it's not obvious also at the same time. But it's called the Lam Gitsawa Shenyen Densul in Tibetan. Said, the correct way of relying upon the Guru is the root of the path to enlightenment. No? And it's important to understand, it's not the physical person of the Guru the route to enlightenment. It's the correct way of relying upon the Guru from our side. So in trusting ourselves correctly, having the right attitude, this is what actually makes the big difference. You know? It's like Rinpoche is always saying to us, you know, I relate to you in the way that you are open to. If you need a friend, I am a friend. If you need a father, I am a father. If you need a lover, I am a lover. If you need a guru, I am a guru. No? I'm here to help you whatever you want. What's the best that we can get from him? What's the best that he can offer us? A guru. Which means guiding us to enlightenment. But it would depend on which way we relate. That's what the other can give. Okay? Namshe nga rangshin ge mebar tempa. Sheja lengar sheyo na teni chila migneke. Shedang sheja lenchik na teni chila migneke. Wongde sheje chiyo na tetse sheba kangleke. Okay, verse 104 and 105. If the cognition of something were prior to what it cognized, then what is to be aimed at for its arising to occur if the cognition of something were prior to what it cognized, then what is to be aimed at for its arising to occur? And if a cognition were simultaneous with what it cognized, still, what is it to be aimed at for its arising to occur? Yet, if it occurred after what it cognized, then from what did the cognition of it arise? Similarly, it can be determined that there is a truly existent arising of any phenomenon. So, the next verses are talking about, the next two verses, verse 103 and 104, are actually, 104 and 105, are actually talking about what is called the lack of inherent existence of our sense consciousness. Okay? So, before we were talking about the mind generally, and here is the lack of inherent existence of the sense consciousness itself. So it says, if the cognition of something were prior to what it cognized, then what is to be aimed at for what is it to be aimed at for its arising to occur? And if a cognition were simultaneous with what it cognized, still, what is it to be aimed at for its arising to occur? Yet, if it occurred after it cognized, then from what did the cognition of it arise? Similarly, it can't be determined that there is a truly existent arising of any phenomenon. So, here actually, it's a long debate, something that we could go on in a quite long way, but we just try to grab the essence of the meaning. And the point is that there is a long way of debating of how actually we perceive phenomena through our sense consciousness, okay? So the question is, first of all, there are two possibilities. When I look at the glass, there is my eye consciousness that perceives, my eye sense consciousness that perceives the form of the glass. Okay? So, one way of seeing is that the eye sense consciousness is already there, just waiting. Then when the form of the glass arises, the eye sense consciousness perceives it. And then the eye sense consciousness perceiving the form of the glass arises. The other way of seeing is that the glass has always been there. And then suddenly, when you get in touch with it, then appears an eye sense consciousness that perceives that. And the other way of seeing is that the two appear simultaneously. Okay? But the problem of all these ways of explaining is that they all take into consideration one consciousness, and also an object actually, that exists independently one of each other. Okay? One exists first, then come the other, one, okay? But actually, when we analyze well, they only exist one independence of each other. As we say, like the big and the small, the here and there, it only exists independence of each other. Similar to that, the eye sense consciousness that perceives the form of the glass only exists independence of the form of the glass existing. The form of the glass exists independence of the eye sense consciousness that perceives the form of the glass. Okay? So one exists independence of each other. Okay? Which means the form of the glass that I see exists only because I see it in that way. And I can only see because it's there. So it's like one exists independence of each other. The point that we need to get here is not related to the form of the glass now, it's related to our consciousness. So the five sense consciousness, they only exist independence of the objects of perception. Our consciousness does not exist. Our five sense consciousnesses do not exist independently of its own objects of perception. And they exist simultaneously, but in the sense not like existing independently of each other. They are actually, complementary, in the sense that one exists when the other exists. It's also said they are of the same nature. That's why also one of the Buddhist schools called the Simsampa Chittamatra, only mind. They say external reality and internal reality is the same thing. Why? Because one doesn't exist without the other. They're exactly of the same nature. You can only see and perceive what actually manifests through your own mind. And everything that you experience is a result of the actions you have done in the past. And the imprints of the actions rely in your mind. So everything is as a result of karma, so everything is a result of your own mind. That's the view of the Chittamatra, okay? But we're not going to that right now. The point that we're getting here is that our five senses do not exist by its own characteristics, alone, independently, because it only exists independence of the objects of perception. So the ear sense consciousness that listens to sound of the prayer only exists independence of the prayer. Okay? Is it clear in this way? Yeah? Yes.
This process, that when something is checked,
Okay.
or someone you look at someone, you put in normal thing. Look at someone, you say, oh, is this guru appropriate for me, or is someone appropriate for me of life?
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yeah. It's the following. We have 6 senses and 6 objects of perception. Okay? The 5 senses are regarding material things. So we have form, sound, smell, taste, and touch. The 6th sense regards mental objects. Okay? So when we think about, okay, let me see, understanding 6 signs and understanding better if a person has been or not, or connection to a previous life, as you said, or understanding if the guru is the right guru or not for me, and so on, or the right companion, or many other things that can be there. These are all actually objects of the sense of mind. Okay? So this is being perceived by what we call our mind sense consciousness. So it's not something that we perceive directly through our 5 senses. Our 5 senses, they work as a basis, something through which we can interpret things. We see situations, then after we give an interpretation to it, we analyze it, we observe it. But all of this is done later through our own, what's called mind sense consciousness. It's something inside, happening inside of us. It's not happening through our 5 senses. And here, once again, the mind that perceives that, okay, this person is suitable to be my friend, or this person is suitable to be my guru, and so on, that mind doesn't exist without the image of that person being suitable. Which is, we have a mental image that we perceive at that moment, because what the eye consciousness perceives? Form. The ear consciousness perceives sound. The mind consciousness perceives what we call mental images. Okay? So this is what? The mind consciousness doesn't exist independently of the mental images. The fact that it's a mental image doesn't mean that it's necessarily an illusion. Okay? It doesn't mean that it's necessarily an illusion, the fact that we perceive a mental image. There are things that we cannot understand, that we cannot perceive directly through our 5 senses. We need to understand it through our intuition, through our understanding, through our logics, and so on. And all of this, the object of perception, is actually a mental image. It's a mental object of perception. But that mind itself cannot exist without its own object of perception. That is a mental image. Okay? So once again here, we see that even the mind consciousness, the mind sense consciousness, doesn't exist out of its own characteristics. It exists independent of its own object of perception, that in this case is the mental images. Okay. So the point here is like, the question that I think it's coming there is like you may ask, oh, but is it right or is it wrong what I am perceiving? Okay. Yeah? First of all, there is one point that is the fact that, okay, this we go into a different subject, so I just make an answer according to like different subject of what we were just looking before. But first of all, it's impossible for us to see perfection, even if it's there. Because we are totally incapable of perceiving anything independently of our own mind. Until the moment that I am imperfect, I would never see perfection. Okay? So it doesn't matter how much I look for it, I will never find it until the moment that I am not perfect myself. Okay? So in the moment that I have jealousy or anger or pride or miserliness, and I have projections and expectations and whatever, I will always project this in the girlfriend, in the boyfriend, in the guru, wherever. Okay? So even if I have a Buddha in front of me, perfect, I will never see perfection because I myself am imperfect. And my experience of reality is a union. Let's say like this, to make it simple, let's say it's a union. So it doesn't depend only on the object, it depends very much on the observer also. Okay? So what happens is that when we look for a person, we don't look for perfection. We look for someone that can have the qualities that can fulfill our needs. Okay? And then when we put in a scale, there will be qualities and there will be defect. There are things that we are in harmony and things that we are not in harmony. And we should look for someone that gives us more benefit than harm, basically, in this way. Okay? So just to conclude for this morning, today we have seen some very important aspect, which is the 6 awarenesses of how to listen to the Dharma. And this is something very profound, very important to remember again and again. It is important in the way how we listen to Dharma, when we read, when we relate to ourselves to the Dharma, when we relate ourselves to our gurus and so on. All of this is very, very important. And then we have seen also these two, quickly we have seen, briefly we saw these 2 verses of the Bodhisattva Charyavatara, understanding that actually even our own sense consciousness, sense power consciousness are also interdependent. They do not exist inherently independently of their own objects of perception. Okay? I think this is all for this morning. So we can make our dedications and go for lunch. Jetson lame kutse rabden chi namkar trinle chochur gepadang losan tempe dreme sasumgi Drove musel tato negur chi nimo dele tsendele nime kunyan delekshin ninsen takto delekpe koncho sumge jingi Koncho sumge trashisho. At dawn or dusk, at night or midday, may the 3 jewels grant us their blessings. May they help us to achieve all realizations and sprinkle the path of our lives with various signs of auspiciousness. Oma hun tenpa lame sangye rinpoche, kyoba lame tamchur, gen rinpa lame gendu rinpoche, kyamne kuncho sumla chepa bu. Lojo sambo pa gyu trashi pa tuche, yarngo da peke drolo tsambe tsebra, pande lame shela chepa bu.